Good afternoon. How are you? I'm well. Uh, I want us to talk today about labeling and maybe the bad label. And this is a topic that I thought about because we are mostly used to very fast calling people or even mentioning somebody's name and you associate it with something that is probably bad. And if I would first define what labeling is all about, labeling is that portraying of another person's identity on the basis of imperfections and past mistakes and allowing them to define their identity. Maybe you have heard someone talk of John Muizi, Wamboi, the prostitute, maybe Kate, the broker, John, another bad name, and it comes out very fast. And this is a thing that is affecting the society so much. You find that somebody is feeling even ashamed of being addressed by, in fact, when they get to know, it is very embarrassing. When you get to know how maybe even someone has saved you on phone. And I was talking to someone and he told me they were very surprised when they realized how they are saved in the phone of a friend when they left it behind. And it got me thinking, how many times do we label others wrongly? And as we have had in the definition, labeling is that the way you would define a person through their past mistakes, their past imperfections, or even the present imperfections that you're talking about, Irene, and maybe relating with something that maybe it was even a one incident, and you start calling that person with that name. And it comes as an automatic thought, as in you don't even need to think so much when you're talking it, but actually it is a wrong cognitive distortion that you have, something wrong also with yourself. So I thought about us challenging such distortions that we have, the behavior sometimes we have, and I would urge us as a community, as a church, as an individual. Sometimes we label even ourselves badly. It doesn't probably need to be another person, but you can even, you, they're called self-defeating mechanisms. You can label yourself badly, like you don't think you're up to something. You already label yourself a failure. You label yourself like, I can't make it. So those labelings come out of the distortions that one has, the emotional and the behavioral tendencies that one has, and you ultimately do not take much time to think through what is this that I'm saying. It comes out so automatically. So what's the first thing that probably may need to do is to evaluate those distortions. You know, if you get to realize that I am so used to, reflect back. How was your conversation in the last maybe even one day or even one week? How many people have I called this associated with this? And you realize the more you evaluate even how you talk, you evaluate what you tell people, how you call people, you realize maybe your negative thoughts are the ones that affect how you even address other people. And in the Bible, you realize that we had people like Thomas, and we associate Thomas the doubter, the doubting Thomas. Why? He doubted Jesus' resurrection and he actually wanted to see the scars. And you can even have other people like the unfaithful woman. You associate her with that act, but you're not looking at the ultimate. Was this woman changed? Was Thomas eventually helped to overcome his doubt and his unbelief? You look at somebody else like David. People see David as a psalmist, but at the same time, they associate him with those bad things that actually happened. We look at another person who was labeled, the woman with the issue of blood. We are looking at the issue more than the ultimate work that was done. So labeling, the people who label others normally do not want to appreciate the process. And I was wondering as ourselves, how can we change that vibe? How can we change that in our society? Maybe it's the high time we start giving testimonies of the process that one has gone through, the ultimate, so that people probably stop just seeing the bad. Challenge, get to know before someone is, what was the ultimate of the story of this person. And we are in an environment that is so full of, we want to express one emotion, which is good. There are those emotions that are associated with the good things. There are those emotions that are associated with the bad. So none of us want to be shamed. None of us want to be scolded. None of us wants to feel rejected. None of us want to feel that they are, you're afraid of even saying your testimony because of the shame that comes with it. And we have somehow normalized, and we want to package our story, the sweet bit of it. But I'll challenge us, let us get to know those stories so that we can also overcome and help people to stop the labeling. Give us those stories of how tough it is in parenting, that I'm facing such and such an issue with my teens, with my young adults, with my young children, the sleepless nights that you have probably had, so that somebody does not actually label you like an irresponsible parent or somebody who doesn't care for your family when your children are probably out there in the drugs. Before you label others, get to know the story. Before you label another person, have you known their process? What has brought them? When you look at a wound, when a wound is very raw, it's not such a good sight. And it leaves a scar, ultimately. And so many of us have scars. In fact, if you were asked, show us one or two, many people would even show so many scars that they have. But that process of when you are going through the pain, maybe a few get to know. We only probably see the scar, but we never get to see the pain, the process, the things that you have had to endure, the many visits that you have had to go to the doctor. So between that scar and when it happened, that process is what maybe actually we may need to start sharing out so that we build each other and we stop this labeling that is in the society. And ultimately, I'm sure we will start looking at stories filled with faith, stories filled with victory, and even encouraging other people that it is well. You will pass through this, and ultimately, you will come out stronger and stronger at the end of it all. So let's stop the bad labeling and embrace understanding and being empathetic with each other. Getting to know what is this that brought you to this state. Instead of giving it a name, let that person share the story. Then first of all, you condemning them and calling them all sorts of names. So God bless you, and may you benefit from this talk. Thank you.